Hello again, everybody. So it is time that we integrate our program. We already developed the sub-modules. It is time that we integrate them to form as a single composite program. Alright, so we're going to be guided by our flowchart. Let's just follow it. So as you can see, our flowchart, it was a do-while loop. Okay, you can see the condition is at the bottom, we go back here, at the bottom we go back here. Yeah. So in between there we used to have that. Yeah, all right. So let's just implement it. Okay, so we have the start. We already have the start here. This is the true start int main. Okay, all right. All the submodules will be called from within here. So we are going to say do. Okay, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? We want to say display. We are going to say display choice. Okay, if you remember, this function did not require any input, but it has the ability to return the correct choice. Once the user enters a correct choice, a valid choice, this function returns it. Okay, so you can declare a variable here, maybe choice, because the choice was actually an integer. It could be either 1 or 2 or 3. So our variable, we are going to declare it as an integer to store that choice. Okay, so what is next? According to our flowchart, we can use if statement. Okay, if choice is 1, else if choice is 2. All right, yeah, but don't confuse it with this one. This one is for the while. Okay, do while. Okay, yeah. So don't confuse this one with else if. Okay, yeah, this is not else if. Else if is here is if choice is 1, else if choice is 2, but this one is for the while loop. Can you see? I mean do while. You do all of this while this one. Okay, yeah. So we already have do here. So our while, you can even put it here. Our while will be choice is not equal to what? Is not equal to 3. As long as the choice is not equal to 3, keep doing. Okay, yeah. Why 3? Because 3 was exit. Choice number 3 was exit. Okay, so if the user enters 3, you just want to exit immediately. Can you see? Yeah. All right. So again, right here you can see kwamba you can see that we are using choice somewhere outside here, but we have declared it inside the do brackets. Okay, so you're going to get an error. Okay, so let's put it outside here. Let's put it outside here, and then once we declare it outside there, we don't need to redeclare it again inside. All right, yeah. Okay, so the next step is now to use if. Okay, so you can say if the choice is 1, what do you want to do? If you've forgotten, you can go to your flowchart and see. Else if the choice is 2, what do you want to do as well? So if the choice is 1, if the choice is indeed 1, you're going to say enter the units, you're going to save them, then you're going to call your function to calculate. So you're going to say cout enter units consumed. Then you need to save them, right? So you need memory. Okay, then you're going to say cin units. Then you're going to call your function calculate. You do remember the name? You can go back and read it. Okay, and then it needs only one input, which is the units of the customer. Okay, then this function will calculate and return a result. So you can display that result. You can say electricity bill is this much here. Okay, is this much here. I can even add TZS somewhere there. Yeah. All right. Are we together? So this function is going to return a result, and you are displaying that result directly. If you want, you can store the result in a variable, and then you can put that variable here. You get my point? Yeah. So if you want, you can do something like this. You can you can declare a variable, because that function was returning a double, so you can declare a variable right here, and then you can store the value being returned by this function. So this function is returning a value, you store that value, and then you come to display that value. Okay, you store that value in your variable, in your memory, and then you come and display what is in that memory. Can you see that? Yeah. All right. Then what about when the choice is 2? What do we want to do? When the choice is 2, we are going to say enter the volume, and then you're going to save it, and then you're going to prompt the user for the category. But we are going to use our function. Okay, this function is the one that has the task. We trust it with the task for collecting a valid category from the user. Okay, yeah. So we're going to say, if the choice is 2, we're going to say enter the volume consumed in liters. So once they enter the volume consumed in liters, of course we need to store that volume. Let's allocate memory, let's save that volume. Okay, let's save that volume. Okay, let's save that volume. Once we have the volume, we're going to remember we have a function that we prepared, and that function has the task of collecting the valid category from the user. So can we call that function get valid category? Okay, yeah. It does not need any input for it to be able to do its task, but once it achieves its task of getting the valid category, this function is going to return that valid category. Okay, and remember that category is actually a character, so you're going to say char. Okay, maybe cat. Okay, or you can write category, any variable name you want. Okay, once we have this category, we can now call our calculate water bill function, because we have a valid category and we have the volume, right? We have a category and we have the volume. So here we can say calculate water bill, and then you can pass. So I've forgotten which one was the first parameter. Let us go and check. Calculate water bill, the first parameter is supposed to be the volume of water, and then the second parameter is the category. Okay, so you have to obey the contract of the function. Okay, so the first parameter is the volume of water, the second parameter is the category. Let me see, my variable is my variable. Oh, so this is my variable and this is my variable. You see this one. So if I put here C, it means here I also have to put what? C. You get my point? Because this, according to our main function, you have to obey the variables inside your main function. You get my point? Yeah. So if here I had declared V, it means here also I need to put what? V, because that is what I have here. You can't put something which you don't have here. You get my point? Yeah. And then the value that is inside the memory that we call V, it will be copied, and then it will be passed to this particular what? To this particular function. And the value that is inside the memory that we call C will be copied, and it will be passed to this particular what? Function. You get my point? Yeah. So that is what is happening, and that is what we call call by value. That is what we call call by value. A function is called, and only a copy of the value is being passed to that function. That is what it means. All right. So this function is going to collect the copies of those values, and then it is going to calculate the water bill. Okay, and then it will return the result, which you can store in a variable if you want, or if you want you can display that result directly. Okay, so you can say maybe water bill is equal to this much. You see, is equal to this much. All right. Okay. All right. So sometimes when I see V here and I see C here, sometimes I get confused. I'm not used to very simple variables, so sometimes I do get confused. So let me just call it VOL. Okay, no problem. We already discussed about that. Okay, yeah. So let me change here. Yeah. Sometimes it can be a bit confusing when you see some letters. Yeah. I don't know. For some people it's not confusing, but for me it does confuse me sometimes. Okay, so as you can see, we have have we implemented everything? Yes, we are displaying the bill. Yeah, I think we have done everything. Okay, yeah, we have done everything. We have done everything. So we have implemented the entire flowchart. So head over to the next video where we test our main function to see that we have correctly integrated our program, and then we will be able to see whether our program is perfect and working correctly after the integration. Thank you for listening.